Okay, coming back. Now we were up to this point. Like we actually learned about component life cycle, and we got to know that where to actually put the stuff for which is risky stuff. Okay, so what exactly risky stuff is that HTTP call which you are going to place will be that. So that we learn. Now one more important stuff I want to tell you. Rather, this is not something which is very important, but I observe that we use that in our company specifically. Okay, so this is called as pure component. So there is a difference between component and pure component and how the data getting refreshed. So for actually giving that, we will quickly take a demo. Okay, create a pure component. So pure component is very similar to React component. Okay, there is no much difference in it. But what we're gonna do is we'll actually go through it and see what exactly it does. Okay, so let's create that. I'm having a components folder. In that we will be using. I'll create two components here. One is I'll continue to use parent, or we'll create a new one, not one. So let's create a new one. This is complicated. Okay. Let's create a folder. Okay, and just say that it's a pure components I said, and inside that the first file is basically a file called as purecomp.js. Okay, and we'll also create a normal comp. Okay, so what we'll do is we will actually create a normal comp.js. Okay, create that, then create a constructor RCC. It will create a component for you. So React component. Now instead of component, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type pure component here. So pure component is again coming from so I'm sorry, React. So now we are use pure component. Okay, extend that. Pull up to this point. What I'm going to do is this class pure component extends pure component, render this and having something here. So just type in like, okay, this is h2 and say pure component. Okay, so this is pure component. This is great. One more thing I want to do is I'll have a constructor here. So con constructor and a default constructor. You know that this dot state and then you define that state. Okay, what I'll do is I'll just add a quick message. Okay, so I'll just say message and just say this is pure component and message is, let's say, doesn't matter. Okay, don't break your head here. Pure component and add that message right here. So you will not be able to see that message this way. You know how to do that. It will be in value of this dot state dot message. That's something we can do. Correct? Or there is one more way, you can just say const. Okay, so constants, and in that bracket you just say message. Okay, and you just say this dot state. So it's coming from this dot state, and now you can actually directly use message. You don't actually need this dot state. Okay, this is called extracting. So extract the message from this dot state and you keep it here. That's also one of the way. Very common. Okay. Now I got that. Okay, so go ahead and start your React app. As of now, it's not added anywhere, so you need to add your pure comp in app.js for sure. So here you will be adding pure comp. Okay, and make sure that it's available here. Pure comp as a component. Import that. Import. Excuse me. Import pure comp from, and you specify that it will be in pure components slash pure comp. Got it? This is where it's coming from, and we have that here in class. So go ahead and start this app. So this is hello world, so you have to go in hello world. So cd hello hyphen world and use this to what, npm start. Okay, now let it start. Now what's going on? Again, I'm in normal component also. I'll do the same stuff. What I will do, just like what pure component did. Okay, we'll create a normal component now. So you'll say RCC. Okay, create that normal component, and then it has a render method in it. Keep it safe. You'll say con constant. So you'll create constructor. This dot state equals the exact same stuff. You have message. Message says Rishi. Okay, and then you do what? So you just have message display here. So this is again h2, say normal component, and colon, you just say message. Okay, and extract that message here. So you can just extract it. You just say const, it is constants getting message from this dot state. Okay, so you are getting the message from state and you are printing it here. Okay, I want to add some kind of button here so that on click of that something happens. Okay, so let's do that. What we'll do, we'll create a parent component out of this. Okay, so we'll create a parent component which will actually handle all this. Okay, so I'll add text comp, text comp dot js, and I copy normal component stuff. Okay, we'll just change the name. That's it. So create this, put in a text comp, and it will be a test comp. It's a normal component. I don't need this. I don't need this. Okay, only thing I have here is, so first thing I have here is a pure component. So I'll add a pure comp. Okay, uh, finish that tag here itself, and I have normal comp. Okay, and finish that tag, and I will have a button. What I want to do is just change the state. Okay, so button, and you just say change state. Will be that. So what I will try to do is I'll change the state here and see if the state change make any sense. Okay, so you can take this as a property, by the way, like you can pass that as a property, like what exactly getting passed or something. Okay, make sure that it's available. Will be that. So uh, how do you want to do it? Let me do one thing. So what I want to do is I want to change the state of pure component. Okay, change the state of pure component and make sure that it's available to you. So let's target that. Give me one sec. Okay, uh, what we can do is we will actually click on the button and set those properties into these two components and make sure that the change states state changes, and state changes will continue on that particular site. Will be this. So let's do it. There's nothing wrong in it, correct? I have that coded. Okay, so I'm just copying the code from there. It's pretty fast. Just a minute. One sec. Got it. Okay, so somehow my code there and code here is not matching. That's fine. That's fine. Doesn't matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add. Okay, let's do that. So let's actually do what? So just change this state. So pass the properties from the state and come in here. So I'll have this particular component called test component, which will actually send the properties all the way to those components. I'll just say name and name equals, and you can actually pass something here. So let me pass Rishi again. Okay, and I'll pass Rishi to normal component as well. Cool with this. So now what will happen is, okay, forget about button. Button is not needed. We are changing that on the property. We are actually setting a property and sending it there. Good with this. So now this property must be read in my pure component. So pure component will take this property and put it there. So how do we do that? So you just print this dot props dot name. Good with this. So let's do that. Let's actually add this dot props dot name. Okay, and make sure that it's available. Okay, what I will do is I'll get it from test component, and instead of passing this like this, right, let me actually change this and get it from the state. This dot state dot message or name. Oops, name. So I'm sending this property to name. Okay, again I'm sending the same property to this guy. Okay, and now I can actually have a button and change the state. Let's do that. Okay, so let's actually have a button. Okay, and just say click or change state. Okay. So what we are trying to do is test both of these components which are accepting these names, okay, as a property. As of now it's not actually accepting anything, so as of now I don't actually want this. I don't even want constructor there. And pure component, take this from props. So instead of saying this dot props, you can just say this dot, sorry, this dot name, so you can say this dot props. Okay, and take the name here. Okay, same thing for pure component, go to normal comp. Okay, and paste it. So the same normal component. Okay, typing the name. Okay, that's it. So now what's happening is you have a test component which is passing this particular state which is having this name to the pure component as well as normal component, and I have a button here. So now use this particular component which is test comp inside your app.js. Instead of pure comp, use test comp. normal comp, remove the constructor. Okay, so now come back to your screen and see if you are able to get it. Okay, pure comp Rishi, normal comp is also, so normal spelling is wrong. Okay, Rishi. Now there is something called change state. So now this change state, I just wanted to make sure that the change which state is getting changed of that particular test component. So let's come back here and see that it says normal comp. Now you get what actually happened, right? I have this button, so I have this component which is having these two things. I'm passing it as a property, printing that property there. Now here I just do what I do is on click, and here you know what actually happens. You say change state please, okay, and you do what? You can have a constructor which you say that this dot change state equals to this dot change state dot bind uh, dot this, so that what will happen, you will be able to have that particular method. So now have that method change state and do what? Here you will actually change the state, so this dot set state, okay, and then here you will have a new state. Now what I will do is I'll keep the change as it, I'll keep the state as it is. I'll actually not change it, cool with that? Now what I want to do is I want to add a console here when render actually executes. Okay, good with that? So console.log, and here I'll just say normal component, same thing. Okay, I'm also doing the same stuff for pure component and name. Cool. Okay, so now on click of this button, what should happen? The state should change and the new state is again Rishi. So we are basically not changing anything here. Okay, and see if the change reflects in both the components. So we are actually taking what? We are actually checking console.log, okay, about the render method. So come back here. Now loading it. You got this pure component Rishi, normal component Rishi. I want to inspect. So view inspect. Go to console. Okay, console. Yeah. So normal component object. Okay, these objects are getting loaded. That's fine. And go ahead, change the state. Okay, saying normal component, but there is nothing for pure component. Do one thing. Just remove this name from there. Okay, if you remove the name, it will actually print the name also. So just say normal component without name, so that will not be an object, and pure component. Come back. Okay, come back here. You say pure component and normal component. So this is like loading time. Cool with that? Now let's change the state. Change the state. Click on this button. Normal component. Click on this button. Again normal component. Where is the pure component? Why it is not changing? Normal component. Normal component. It's continuous. Okay. Wipe it out. Refresh. You load pure component and normal component. Correct? But then when you actually change it, only normal thing changes. Why? So now we did this demo just because like make sure I'm just passing some properties and making it. But then why exactly we did that is to understand what is pure component. So pure component actually give an implementation to should component update method. So should component update method. I just went here and added that particular link for you. So should component update method, and it has a shallow comparison, means it will actually check the value by value, means if you have three properties or 30 properties, it just checks the references of those values if they are exactly matching. If they are matching, then it will not update, it will not render the screen again. and this will boost the performance of the screen. So use pure component when you do not want to load anything from scratch. So now this is intentionally used for HTTP components. If you are passing the same data again, okay, if you are passing the same attributes again, generally should component update checks that and it will not render the screen again. It will show you the existing screen. So this avoids that lot of HTTP calls and make sure that you get a best performance out of it. So that's a real difference between pure component and the component. Common interview question. That's why we are taking it. It's not very important topic, okay, but it's in use in my industry, so I just added it here. That's called pure component. It is actually have a shallow comparison on should component update. Now you can actually click this and go to that particular link. Okay, and it gives you like so pure component is similar to react component. The difference between them is doesn't implement should component update, okay, but pure component does. Okay, most important, react component should only shallowly compare the object. Okay, it is not an intense comparison. If you want an intense comparison, have your own method, okay, and make sure that you can compare the object. So that is up to you. Okay, if you want pure component to actually do the what I can say update, okay, you can actually ask for force update, but then what's the purpose? Okay, you defeat the purpose. Getting my point? So don't do that. Okay, so this is important for our rest call, so make sure that you should know the difference between component and pure component. Okay, moving ahead, handling form fields. Okay, so actually it's not related to having any kind of what I can say rest calls. Okay, but I still want you to understand the normal forms which we have done, okay, in our HTML programming. Similarly, can we do that in React programming as well? So that is called form components. We'll create a simple form, okay, first time ever, and we're gonna use that form with this. So for that we will use HTML form component. So I already created component forms in the favor of time. So went here and I have sample form.js. So sample form extends component. I don't have any code here. So we have div. Inside div you can start with your form, okay, form component, sorry, form tag, and you can start building your own form. What happened? You can start building your own form. Good with this? Now what next? So you can actually add the stuff, okay, which we generally do. So p tag, u tag, you add, it's like, let's say, customer name, okay, and then you have the field, okay, which is input, okay, you have type equals to text, right? That is input field. Now if you actually add the sample form in app.js, you'll be able to see the form. So I'll delete this sample form. And okay, there is useless constructor, that's fine, that's fine, we're going to change the state anyway. Okay, come back here and see if you are able to get forms. So React app, you got customer name. Okay, so you can enter some value here, but as of now you know that this is HTML form. It's not bound to React component or not bound to React state. Okay, so nothing gonna happens if I change something. Good with that? So let's actually add our binding into it. So how do we do that? So for every binding we generally create, for every field we generally create a state object which will bind that particular thing into state. So for that you just add a state object. So state and set that state, and let's say this is name colon, and then you have this name here. Good. Now you can actually add that as a value here. So value. Okay, and here you can specify that value as this dot state dot name, or you can actually use, again, you can actually remove the constant and make sure that it's available for you and all those things. Fine. So now can I go back and see what happens? So I have this field available. I'm getting some error. That's fine. This is a warning. Okay. So I'm not able to enter now. I just added something here, but now I'm no longer able to enter anything. I'm pressing my keyboard buttons. Nothing happens. Okay. So because see the warning, failed prop types. Okay. So it says value prop form filter. That's fine. Without on change handler. So what you need is on change handler. So when you actually enter the data, you need to listen to it. You need to understand like what's going on there with that. So let's actually use that particular thing. So how do you do it? You just add on change, and on change you do what? You just have a handler to it. So this dot, okay, on entering data, okay, or entering name, okay. Good with this. So this is your field. You can have, by the way, you can also do this, okay. Add event, listen to the event here, add an arrow function, and you can describe this function. This is also a way you don't have to bind anything here. Okay, so on entering name, event is like what's happening there. Okay, and then you can grab the data. Now what you will do, you are actually changing the state. How? So this dot set state. Okay, and here you will just change like name equals what? Event dot target dot name. Okay, so you'll get no. Cool with this. So you listen from that particular event. So event dot target dot value, sorry, value. So whatever value in that particular event is actually given to it, it actually hits here and the new value will be set. So now you are binding that particular field in React, binding that particular field in React, so that what will happen, you will get this particular value as soon as user enters it. Also, you will be able to listen to the value one by one. Okay, so that means every character enter will be valid, or you will be able to see it. So I'm now able to enter the characters. Okay, so do you want to see whenever this event is getting fired? So for that, again, you can do what? We can just use console dot log event fired. Okay, and start looking at the console, and here event fire R I S H I, fire event fired. Got it? So as soon as you enter the value, you will get the event fired. The screen is not getting refreshed, don't worry about that. So your performance is still intact. But you are able to listen to the value not when the user completes it, but while you are typing it itself. So if user is typing an email address and if you are not finding an at the rate character, you can actually immediately tell the user, okay, you are not entering the value stuff. Or user actually entered 1 into it, okay, you saw that there is a numeric value, okay, wrong. You can actually immediately tell user that this is not a valid value, mark that particular field as red. How do you do that? That is CSS stuff. But then I just wanted to tell you that how do you fire the events as soon as the value is entered by user, and it's how it is how it is bound in React. So these are binding the fields. Now for that, for your example, I created form.js for you for your reference, having 3 different fields into it. So you have username, comment, and topic. I bound all these things on change events into it. Okay, I created those fields from, and I also had on submit. Okay, so let's go through it. Go through this example. So I have username, okay, which is a type of text. Okay, value of username, and I have username handler. Okay, I have comments. I have comments handler. It's a text area. I have topic, and I have 3 topics here: React, Angular, and Vue. Vue is also one of the framework, by the way. And I have topic handler. So this is option. This is select. That means this is like a combo box. But with this, so I have this. Now I can actually click on a button called submit. So submit will have submit handler, but then you don't actually put it here. Okay, you don't have to put on click handler. You can do that though, not a bad idea. but then form itself has something called on submit. This is a better way of doing it. On click event of submit is not that awesome idea. Okay, having an on submit event which actually make more sense. So on submit you are handling an event called handle submit. Here I am just alerting this particular text. The alert means it will pop up on the screen and show it on the screen. Now, what if I don't give this option? We'll actually check this. Okay, and come back and just open this or use this form.js in app.js. Let's continue that. So remove sample form. Okay, remove this and say form.js. Okay, and come back on the screen and you should see this. Okay, although you need to have a p tags. Okay, should you arrange it properly? That's fine. So Rishi, some comments here, and I selected Angular or I selected Vue and submit, and I'll get this data. Rishi, some comments and the data. As soon as I click on OK, my data is gone. So if I don't want that, okay, if I don't want to actually data getting lost on refresh, I just have to enable this option called, where is my option? Event dot prevent default. So it will do what? It will actually save the details, okay, on the screen itself. Make sure that screen doesn't disturb. So Rishi, H2K Infosys, okay, React, submit. So I'll get there, and if I click on OK, I'll still keep this data. This is because of what? Because I'm keeping that event alive. Okay, so keeping the event. Prevent default. Will be that. So that's a reading of a form. Now, what about HTTP request? Can I actually send something? So on submit, I'm not asking any HTTP request to send any data or ask anything to receive the data. Remember that React do not have a capability to do that stuff. React will not inbuilt will not have anything related to HTTP. Rather, React don't even know that there is a HTTP server which is actually serving any kind of stuff for you or JSON builds for you. So how does that happen then? So for that, we're gonna use a library called as Axios. Now you can actually use anything for that, but Axios I find it simpler, and we use that in our industry. So for that, we'll be using Axios. Now Axios will help you to connect to the event and come back with the data. Cool with that? So now how do we do that? So for that, we're gonna create a form, and we're gonna use that form to send the data. Okay, get some details from it. Cool with that? So first thing you have to do is you have to go to npm install Axios. So stop the server and do npm install Axios. Okay, and if once this is done, this is gonna take time. Okay, it's a lot of time. You will see that a dependency will get added into your lock here, and you will see Axios dependency. Just React is, yeah, you can say Axios dependency. So this will get added. As of now, you will not see that. Once you install npm install Axios, you will get that. Okay, so once it is uploaded, that means you are ready to use Axios in your computer. So now what I'm going to do, we are going to create two important forms. One is for getting the details, okay, and one is for setting the data, that is send the data. Well, with this, okay, so how do we use Axios? That also we're going to learn. So let's build the form real quick. So where do you get the request from, by the way? Where is the JSON request? So for that, I'll be using JSON placeholder. So use this website. This is very nice. This is for, so let me show you this. This is for using any APIs for testing. So it gives you a lot of cool stuff. Okay, so this is fake online REST API for testing and prototyping. Okay, and you can get some, so you see your fetch, this one, okay, then this one, okay, so you can use this. Fetch is not something we'll use. Axios here, then and then you can actually use. So now let's do this. Let's load the comments or posts or albums, whatever you like. So let's post. Open this. Once you click on this, this is a JSON call for getting the request. Okay, so you can see that there is a get request called post. and you got this entire JSON response back. So I'm going to use this particular URL, okay, and send the data. Cool with this? So let's go ahead and add that in our link. But how do we call it? So for that, we're going to create a JS file, a component which will load the data for us. Okay, so let me do that. Again, with interest of time, I have created some stuff already for you. So fine. So let's create a form here which is called HTTP GET, and it's wonderful. It's very easy. Okay, so you'll see that this is amazing. So creating a new file here in HTTP and say HTTP GET test. That's the component name. Oops, I did not actually append it. Can I rename that to JS? Yes, .js. Okay, and I used RCC, that means a component. Okay, it's a React component, HTTP GET now. Now, one more thing you have to import is import Axios from Axios. Okay, so now what? Next is what? So you can actually get the data from here. Now, where exactly you can actually put your RESTful call? Can you do that? So first thing is you will add a constructor. So CUNS or CUN, you will get a constructor. So you are going to get the object here, this dot state, okay, and set the state. Let's say post. Okay, you are getting a post. You are reading the post, and comment that and have a empty string assigned to it. As of now, don't use it. We're going to load that post with actual Axios contents. Okay, how? So there is some error here. That is untracked. I don't understand this. Okay, this is interesting. Let's delete and recreate the stuff. New file, http get test.js. Okay, that's fine. RCC, that's a React component. Okay, this is enough. And an import Axios. Fine. I don't know what was the issue. That does make sense. Okay, anyway, so CONS, that is constructor, add that constructor, this dot state, and then you specify the state here and add post colon empty string. As of now, don't add anything in there. We are cool with that. Where exactly you can put an HTTP call? So the best method to put that is, we learned that is, that method will be component did mount. Correct? So this is the method we need to implement. In component did mount, we're going to do the Axios call. So how do we call Axios? So it is very simple. We just say Axios dot get and provide the URL. Good with that? So go ahead and add that. So you just say Axios dot and you get method, and here you're gonna call that particular URL in this. So now where is the URL? So you can go here, copy this URL and put it in here. So this is your URL call. So once you call it, what's going to happen, right? You need to have some kind of handle to it. So either you will get a proper response out of it or you will fail somewhere. So that will, like, Axios is kind of an if else statement. So if you, so it's the Axios of get. If you successfully receive the stuff, then you will actually use dot then. Okay, and in dot then you're going to actually do some stuff here. Okay, so what else exactly you want to do with that? So I might actually want to add just a console.log. Okay, so how can I do that? I can go to that then folder, okay, and create uh, okay, so there are two options to it. Either you can create a function here, that means a console call, or you can use arrow functions. With that, so I'm going to use arrow function, which are handy. So let's create that. So then, and you get response, and response is arrow function. I'm going to divert that response somewhere. So I'll just say console dot log. Okay, and then in log you can actually log a response. Okay, that might be enough for you. That's okay. That's completely fine. So now what I'm going to do is whatever is coming through, I'm just logging in console. Will be that. So as soon as the page loads, this is where it lands. Fine with me. What if you did not get anything back? Okay, you need to handle the error also. So for that, you will actually do what? So you have one more thing. Just like then, you have dot catch. So here you have dot catch, and in dot catch you do the similar stuff. You can actually get the response back again. So you can specify that, okay, if in catch block you get error, okay, so you can actually call it as response, call it as error. We generally call it as, so it's a common habit for me to write excp, but I'll just write error here, error, and arrow function, okay, and create a function as a console.log. Okay, if there are any errors, I'll type error here. With that, so this is my component did mount. So component will be mounted, and as soon as it's mounted, this is what it's gonna do. Okay, fine, awesome. In due tag, I'm just saying calling RESTful web service. Cool. Now, HTTP GET is not used by anybody, so you have to go back to your app.js and remove this form, add HTTP GET method. Okay, remove the form and wait for it. It's going to take some time, and as soon as component loads, you have to go back to the screen, calling RESTful, and see here. Actually, I got a data. So if I see the data, this is a data for 100 different items. So we got this data logged in a console. So our HTTP call is successful and we are able to get this data. How can I get this data on a screen? So for that you need to understand map structure. I'll show you that. It's very easy. So what exactly we are going to do is, so this entire data is logged with the help of some kind of key value pair. So so see the data as array, and the array is like zeroth element is this first, and it goes on that way. So there is a key here. Okay, there is one more key called user ID, okay, or ID. So ID is one of the key. So ID is a key, you can see that, right? So this is a key, and you can grab title or a body which you want out of that. So from that key, so this particular section or this particular array is kind of a map having a ID and title. Okay, so let's go ahead and use that structure to grab the data. So with this, so now I want to put that data back into where, in your render method. Okay, so let's do that. To grab that in the render method, what you have to do first, you have to set that data to where, state, because now state was empty at that time, post was empty at that time. So I want to assign whatever response I received to my state. How can I do that? So you do that in component did mount method. Okay, so please do that right away. What we will do is this dot set state, okay, and assign that particular state as, so where do I change it? I will go back to HTTP GET method, and here when I'm getting a successful response, I will get this dot set state, okay, add this, add the post, and say response dot data. How did I get that? So here response dot data is the response object, and I'm asking for data object. Okay, not config, not headers. You can get that. You can get headers also. Okay, response dot data will have this data now. Okay, so I got this data in posts. Now I want to do what? So as soon as the state changes, my render method gets called. So I'll be actually calling or asking for these details in render method. So for that, I will be writing a code here. Okay, so it will be like from that map, from that post map. Okay, it's a map, right? I want to print, or I want to print titles. Okay, or I want to print something. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So what I will do, I'll just use I'll just say posts dot. So first thing is you have to explore that. Okay, so you want to get rid of that particular variable. So get the config, get the constants out of this state. Okay, and let me type a command in here, which is very important. I'll explain you that. Okay, I'm just grabbing it from my own code here, and I'm going to return this particular thing. I'll explain you what is this. Okay. So now the first thing is you got the post. You are just checking if the post dot link. This is not required. Okay, so this is not required. You can remove this. This is if else condition. I don't need this. Okay, so I can just simply print list of posts. I say post dot map. Okay, post dot map, and you are getting it from post. Okay, and then use post dot id and post dot title. Okay, now one thing is you are not actually iterating to it, so let me iterate that and use that here. Okay, this is equals to your Java ternary operator. Let me explain you because this is important. This is equals to your Java ternary operator. That means if your if then else. So if post.length means if post length is greater than 0, then use this. So post.map, map has a key value pair, right? So you are actually printing in div tag. Okay, so you can actually use this in div tag. You can actually print key post ID and print that particular item. So every single post. Or if this is not there, okay, if ternary operators, if post dot length does not come here or it's 0, then you print null. This is what it says. Okay, so this is if then else statement. Similarly, you have error message. If there is an error message present, then just print the error message, otherwise print null. This is what it is. Okay, so now we made that. We actually load an entire map. Out of that, we ask for post.id. Okay, and we get the title printed. Okay, but is it really printing? So for that, I will do what? I will just add a p tag if it's possible quickly. So add a p tag so that it will be separated by line. Otherwise, it will be very confusing. Okay, they will combine them. Okay, and come back and see the screen now. Okay, you got this. All things on screen. You can add more. So you have the data. You can have other fields also. Okay. So you can have title, you can have user ID also. So let's do that. So let's add post.user ID as well. Can we do that? You can actually start a table, create a table, table data, table row, okay, and do that. That's also fine. So here I'm just saying with post.title, okay. Here you say post dot, you will get user ID. Let's see the screen. Okay, you got user ID hyphen that particular data. But with this, so this is like getting the request. We can also use post and there is no difference in posting the data. Okay, so we'll understand that program, like how do we post the data to the RESTful web service. So getting it and posting it, these are two different things. Again, we're going to use Axios. There is no much difference. The code is exactly the same. Only thing is we're going to send some data from here. So let's check that code now real quick. And I will add that component here. So new file, I'll say http new file, I'll say http post test.js. Okay, no new differences, no new things here. Okay, so let me show you that. Come back on code and just simply paste the code here. Okay, so the name of the class, I will change that to. Now what I did is I combined my form class, okay, and my HTTP get class and just made HTTP post method. Okay, so I just made it as HTTP post test component and export that component. Okay, see what happened. Now I am doing three things here. Okay, so setting state with user title. This is very similar to what we did in form. So we created a state with empty objects. We have change handlers. Okay, so we have submit handlers. So now what will happen is on submit, I will be grabbing the value of user ID on change handler. Okay, then you have change handler for this also, which is text. Change handler for this also, which is again a body text. Okay, so this is for body, title, and user ID. These are the three fields asking, right? So you can just see this. Sorry, not here. Here. So come back. See the post. Post is post. Okay, and these are the three fields which are required: user ID, title, and the body. Correct? ID will be generated, it seems, because ID is auto increment. So I don't know how to pass that. So if I'm actually able to send an ID, I should be able to get an ID equals to 101. Right? Should be able to do that, right? So let's do that then. So what I will do, I'll be entering these three fields: user ID, title, and body. I use the exact same thing what we did in form. I have a submit which has submit handler here. And what does submit handler do? Let's go here. In submit handler, I'll just say prevent default. That means the state will be saved. Just log it and then Axios. So this is the time which will actually do that Axios stuff. Okay. So Axios post. So at that time, the first one I did Axios get because I was actually asking for get request. The endpoint is same. Okay, but here I'm going to send Axios post, and in post what I'm going to send is state, because state has user ID, title, and body, right? So these three fields are sent to the post method. So if you get a response back, you'll be able to get the response here. Okay, if you get an error back, you will get an error here. Simple as that. So that will be changed in a change log, that will be added in the change log. What you can do is you can also add it in, so you can add ID here, okay, and make sure that it's assigned to 0, and then you can fetch that data from that particular response and show it on the screen. There is nothing bad in there. Cool with that? So now I'm just logging it in the console and make sure that it works. So now let's just use this particular post method for entering the data, and then we're gonna call that particular class. So post, 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 and post, and save it. Okay. That being said, we should actually refresh the screen. You have three fields. You need labels here. Please add that label. So first thing is user ID. So let's use 11. Okay. Second thing is text. So I'll just say Rishi and say test data. So I'm sending this, that, so submitting it. So submit will actually click here. So just wipe it out, wipe out the console, submit. So sending this. I did not get a response back. Okay, this happened, but this does not happen. There is no response. Or did we? Yeah, we did. We did got a response. This is what the response is. Okay, so you can see user ID 11, title is received, body is data, ID is 101. Okay, so we got the response back, it's got saved, and we got the response back. Okay, so it took a little bit of time, but that's okay, right? So status 201, and we basically got response here. That is HTTP post. So you can post the entire state and accept that particular state as a JSON, okay, and work on it. Send it as a Axios. So now we actually went through sending the data to particular endpoint and getting the data from a particular endpoint through React with the help of Axios. Remember that React do not actually interact with this kind of stuff. It actually uses a lot of other libraries. So in the future, if you fetch something else, if you find something else, that is also okay. Okay, it doesn't matter that Axios has to be used. So there are some other libraries also which can. So fetch library is also there. So which is actually given example here. That also a library. So fetch, same thing, right? Adding some details. Then you are actually passing that to an arrow function, response.json, or you are using console.log. So a lot of libraries around. Okay, which one is better for you? Just choose that. I choose Axios because we accept or we do Axios, and this is very popular. Okay, so please use that. Okay, that being said, I know that there's a lot of stuff going in, a lot of new stuff, so probably you need some time to grasp it and understand. So do that, go through it, go slowly, try yourself. Once you are actually doing it with your own hands, you'll be able to understand it. Cool with that? So let's stop here, and tomorrow we're gonna understand Redux, and that is the end of our syllabus. Okay, so we'll have one more session which is on microservices and other support stuff we're gonna start. Okay, after that, but that will be one-on-one. Only microservices will be combined. With that, so let's stop here and let's continue tomorrow. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good one.